When you're evaluating choices on the new PSAT writing, one thing to look out for is redundancy. Redundancy is unnecessary repetition. If there's a choice that repeats the same thing in the choice, or repeats something that's said already in the sentence or said elsewhere in the paragraph, for example, that's redundancy. You don't need to repeat that if you don't have to. Now, generally, the shorter choices for this reason are going to be the better choices. Now, not always. I don't want you just to go for the shorter choice every time you're trying to make a decision between some choices. But generally speaking, the shorter choices will be better because they don't have any redundancies. And let's look at 3 examples. First one, number 1. With 30% of United States workers not getting enough sleep at night, according to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. companies lose a yearly sum of $63.2 billion annually due to the drop in employee productivity resulting from sleep deprivation. So we look at the original and we say, well, do we see anything grammatically wrong with it? And grammatically, no. It's a perfectly fine sentence, or portion of a sentence. The problem, though, as we might expect, is redundancy. Notice we have a yearly sum of $63.2 billion annually. We are repeating the same idea that this is a yearly loss, right? It's an annual loss. We don't need to repeat those words in this passage. We don't have to use those words twice. We only really need one of them. So, for example, A is gone. B, notice, makes the same error, an annual loss of $63.2 billion each year, same problem. And D, yearly loss of $63.2 billion annually. The grammar doesn't matter right now, it's really just the redundancy. And A, B, and C are all redundant, but if you look at C, so A, B, and D are all redundant. If you look at C, doesn't have any redundancy, just keeps the annually. And we can see the U.S. companies lose $63.2 billion annually due to the drop in productivity, blah, blah, blah. So C works grammatically. Notice it's the shortest, which, again, it's not 100% guaranteed, but it's pretty likely. It's the shortest choice, doesn't contain any redundancies. So we'll go with choice C. Let's move on to number 30 for another example of this. Lunar farming has its skeptics who are not sure of the method's efficacy. That's the original sentence. Do we see anything grammatically wrong with it? No, there's no grammar issue here. But we might say, wait a minute, a skeptic is somebody who is skeptical, right, or uncertain or critical of something. And do we need to repeat or define a skeptic here? Lunar farming has its skeptics who are not sure of the method's efficacy. If lunar farming has its skeptics, implicit in that, or built into that phrase, that sentence, is the idea that they're skeptical of lunar farming. They don't know if it works. So repeating it seems unnecessary, so we can get rid of A. How about B? Lunar farming has its skeptics who have yet to be convinced. Again, a skeptic by definition is somebody who has not been convinced of something. So repeating it is unnecessary. How about C? Lunar farming has its skeptics, those who doubt the method. Again, just like A and B. Skeptics, implicit in that, as part of the definition, is somebody who doubts something. And that's what's going on here, so we can get rid of C. Notice D, the shortest choice. All we need is just skeptics. Lunar farming has its skeptics, period. Move on. We don't need to define what a skeptic is. We don't have to re-emphasize anything. Just get right to the word and make the sentence as short and concise as you can. So D is the answer here. Let's move on then to 36. In 1990, Chef Louis Zuthmary, a voracious collector of cookbooks, donated approximately 20,000 culinary artifacts to the University of Iowa Library. The gift included more than 100 manuscript recipe books, collections of recipes handwritten by the people who used them. The manuscripts, some of which date back to the 17th century, are an invaluable resource for food historians as well as the general public. Because of the astonishing size and range of Zuthmary's donation to the University of Iowa, blah, 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 blah. Making this cornucopia of information available to readers was a challenge. Okay, so we're looking at this and we say, all right, anything grammatically wrong? No, totally fine. But is this wordy? Is this redundant in any way? Notice what's been established in the first paragraph is that this person made a donation to the University of Iowa Library. So because this information is already present earlier in the passage, repeating it is unnecessary. We know the donation is to the library, to the University of Iowa. It's been established. So repeating it doesn't seem necessary. It seems redundant. We'll get rid of A. Let's try B. Because of the astonishing size and range of Zuthmary's donation of so many culinary artifacts. Again, earlier in the passage, we've already established that Zuthmary donated culinary artifacts. So number one, repeating what he's donated seems redundant. But also, the sentence is talking about the astonishing size and range of what he's donated. So then to say the astonishing size and range of his so many culinary artifacts, again, it's this many is also redundant with the astonishing size and range earlier. So again, we can get rid of B because it's just not quite concise enough. How about C? Because of the astonishing size and range of Sith Mary's massive donation of cookbooks. Notice again, this is kind of earlier in the passage, they say that there are recipe books as part of the donations, but that's not it. We don't want to just limit this to cookbooks because it's really, as we've seen earlier, culinary artifacts. So I wouldn't say that this is redundant, but I would say that massive is redundant, again, with astonishing size and range. I mean, it's a little bit nitpicky, but yeah, it's an unnecessary word. All we're going to need is just simply donation because of the astonishing size and range of Sith Mary's donation. We know who he donated it to. We know what he donated. We've established that it's large, both earlier in the passage and in the sentence. So we just need the single word. So this one's going to be choice D. To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.